Welcome to Teen Up, a podcast that digs deeper into the thoughts of teenagers' mind about the wonders of the world.
If you're new here, I'm your host, Isabella.
And I'm Glenn. If you're not, welcome back.
Here is a quick disclaimer. We are two teenagers that are doing our best to research everything. However, we are not experts, so if we offend anyone or say something wrong, we want to apologize in advance. Please email us to tell us what was wrong. Thank you.
This week, we are going to explore why people want to be successful and what traits they have. We also have two special guests this week from Growth of Today.
Okay, so what are some reasons for wanting to succeed? What do you think, Glenn?
Obviously, people want to be successful because money, power, that kind of stuff. That's for sure.
True. So from this website, there are 6 reasons that causes us to want to succeed. So first one is we want to achieve success because it is a part of our lives plans. So basically, when we move from one stage to the other, there are milestones, right? Like graduating or getting your dream job, or you're starting your own business and stuff like that. And achieving these milestones are like successes for us. And like these little success gives us positive feelings, like we would move towards it and fulfill our life, kind of. Okay, and the second reason is we want the output related to certain success. We want to have, when we reach a certain goal, we want to have benefits, right?
Right.
To make our success more desirable and enjoyable. So that is the output here. Okay, so for example, when you get the job you want and you get a promotion, that is one of the benefits to this success.
Yeah, right. So money and power, like I said.
Right. Okay. The third reason is we love the taste of winning. So succeeding is another way of winning, and like it adds value to us and, pumps our egos, and we view success as a type of personal victory. Okay, and the fourth one is we need stimulation, which I think totally makes sense because we would need like life goals to work towards too, or our life would be meaningless, and we need a purpose, right? So these successes are a type of stimulation. That's why we would want to move towards it. Reason is because we want to compensate the past failures, like having this success or this victory or hitting this milestone is kind of compensating for the past mistakes and past failures you've had. Like getting a new job, you forget about, past terrible job interviews or stuff like that.
Oh, I understand this. It's like some people are poor when they're young. So they want to get successful and get like super rich.
Right.
To like compensate their childhood.
Yeah. And the sixth one is we find success as a solution for our problems. So success is positive experience, right? And we would expect success to be the solution to, these bad experiences or bad memories in the past.
Right.
So these are the 6 reasons why people would want to succeed.
So it's not just fame and power and money.
No.
There are other psychological reasons.
Right. So what are some, traits that makes these people special or successful? So the first thing is that successful people mostly have a growth mindset, which means that they are a learner for life. That means that they are always learning new things and they never grow tired of acquiring new knowledge. They are always open for new knowledge. And the second way to see that this person has a growth mindset is that there are no substitutes for hard work and they don't take shortcuts. And the way that they work is different from others because other people would work hard, but these people would work smarter. Do you get what I mean?
Like they wisely use their time and like don't waste any like energy on things that wouldn't work. Is that like that?
Right. Like they would find the most efficient path to do it that way instead of, doing it the
Right.
slow and hard way. And another aspect of growth mindset is that they are not afraid of failures. They're very open to failing, and they would think that it is an experience to learn from rather than,
Mm-hmm.
failing at life.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And the last one is that they are always very positive and they rarely listen to any naysayers or people who, just trying to bring them down.
Like no bad vibes.
Yep. And yeah, they think that everything will only go upwards and never downwards. The second aspect is grit. All successful people have grit.
What's grit?
Grit is basically a combination of passion and perseverance. So, one aspect of having grit is being passionate, right?
Right.
Successful people are always so passionate. They're always willing to, give help to others, and they rarely give up. Like I have said, they don't see failures as a fail. They look at it as something to learn from and experience.
Like perseverance.
Yeah. Another aspect of grit is that they don't make excuses when they're working, or they would never like make an excuse to say that, oh, this won't work. They would just try their best to make it work.
Uh-huh. Right. That sounds like something a boss would say. Like, there's no such thing as it doesn't work.
Oh, yeah. Okay. And this other aspect is they are always willing to go for the extra mile, meaning that they don't just do things to the point that they were asked to do. They would, go further. For example, they wouldn't just finish, if this is a student, that student would just finish a project like the teacher asked, meaning that the student would also write an essay, to go with that project. Yeah, to hand it in.
But wouldn't it seem kind of like inefficient?
I mean, if that student is able to write another essay, I would say that this student works pretty efficiently. Otherwise, they wouldn't have the time to do it.
Right. Makes sense.
Right. And another aspect of grit is they're always very focused and consistent. They don't just switch around to different things. They're always focused on their own work and barely give up.
Yeah, it really sounds like kind of like how genius does stuff, you know? Some really smart people, they just do their own thing, and when they're in the zone, they're like not gonna listen to anyone. They're just gonna sit there, do their thing, you know, whether it's writing, maybe coding, maybe, anything. Drawing.
And this other one is psychological flexibility. So it's basically the ability to adapt behavior to a constantly changing world. And I think this one is very important because you have to be able to find the environment that is suitable for you in order to flourish, to thrive, and to develop the way you want. So, yeah, you have to be very flexible about switching environments.
It's like adaptability, right?
Yeah. There are 5 more traits that you could see from a successful person. Number 1 is that they are all visionaries, which means that they are able to vision their future and be able to see who they are in the future. And I guess this doesn't really happen to a lot of people being able to see what they're going to be like in the future. And this is like an important one because that person would be able to, know what to work towards because they could already see themselves as this person in the future.
Yeah, this makes sense. It's like if you're a CEO of a company, you need to know what to do next.
Right. And the second one is that they are always willing to help others to be successful. They're never selfish, thinking that others are going to compete with them. They think that everybody should have the chance to be successful. And the third one is that they're always dreamers. They're willing to dream big and not be afraid of failures. And yeah.
Well, this is kind of similar to the visionary one, right?
Right. Okay, so next one is integrity.
Ooh, this is a big one, right?
Right, yeah. So when you yourself have high moral and ethical principles, it is what really defines you and what makes you different from other people. And I don't know if you know this person, C.S. Lewis.
No.
This person once said that integrity, doing the right thing even when no one is watching.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and this last one is gratitude. So, successful people are always very thankful for the people in their lives, their relationships, and, thankful for their well being and, their work and everything. So, they give back to those people as appreciation to say thank you for the work that they have received from them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so basically, these are the traits that they would find when looking at a very successful person. And these traits do make sense to me. They do seem like what a successful person should have.
Yeah, it does make sense. It's like all the good things. Like you have to be a visionary and, treat others well.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, treating others well, it kind of comes back when you are in business with other people, and it will just be smoother if you're not having a beef with everyone.
Right. After the break, we are going to invite our special guest for this episode from The Growth of Today.
Welcome back. Now we're going to talk about the psychology of success with Growth of Today.
Okay, so why don't you start with your podcast intro?
All right. Hey, so this is Kayla and I. We are The Growth of Today, or TGOT. We created this podcast last summer amidst the pandemic. We created it to kind of inspire daily growth rather than the long term, although we do understand that the long term growth is really important. We wanted to kind of look inside the small growth that happens each day.
Mm-hmm.
How no matter what, you're growing new cells, or no matter what, you're learning something new, whether you realize it or not. And so that's The Growth of Today. And yeah.
We're excited to be here.
Yeah, super excited.
We're excited that you're here too. So the next question, what do you think is the definition of success?
I can start. I guess it's kind of like, first and foremost, it's a hard question, for like just trying to define success. But I think it varies for each person. Some people will define it with like money or fame. But personally, one thing that Makenna and I talk a lot about, it's trying to be content in life. And that's, cause we have like, some people say like their goal is to like be happy and stuff. And like being happy is really important, but I don't think it's realistic to try to be happy 100% of the time. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Because, people get sad, like you will grieve eventually. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
But if you can be content in knowing that like you will have your ups and downs, but then you'll probably get back up again, I feel like, you're pretty good. And that's not to say don't like strive for anything more. Like always strive to reach all of your goals, but just being content in knowing that like some will work out and then some won't, but you got to get back up again.
Right. And I kind of agree with what she said about, the happiness, like, not everyone's gonna be happy 100% of the time. And it's kind of like the false narrative that happiness is a destination and people make it their goal, like they can get there. But realistically, it's impossible to just be happy. But my answer to that question would be that it's extremely subjective. And that we had an earlier podcast episode, a collab with my friend Zemin. She's from Ethiopia. And she was just talking about how in Ethiopia, people are just so joyful and they may not have a lot, but they're so happy and content in life. And then, here in the United States, hustle culture, and just all this fast paced moving and what people are striving for is success, but they're looking at it so differently that I think here in the States, it's kind of like our depression rate is extremely high. There aren't things that make it feel successful on the inside. However, the money and the capitalism and that whole aspect makes us seem successful. But where are these, these kids are failing mentally. Mm-hmm. It's what is success? That's not very successful, but maybe to a different perspective it is, but I don't personally think that's success at all.
I think that's like a really interesting point because I guess like our culture has shifted the perception of what success is, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So like people are going to be striving for this fame and like striving for money. And I mean, I guess like, especially money, like if you can get it, get it. But like once you get there and once you get like super rich and they're still not happy, they're still not content. So it's like technically they are successful, but they might not feel that gratification.
Yeah, and in another of our episode, we talk about how Americans,
Mm-hmm.
for like their income, when it has reached like a certain amount, after that people will not feel like they're more successful. So like the effect of money like is basically zero. And for you guys' point that you just mentioned, like being content, I think the most interesting thing is that when you're content, you're happy. So if your goal is happiness, being content would be the way to go. And that's just like kind of interesting how it works.
Right.
Because you're not actually chasing happiness. You're just being content. Like happiness is kind of the side effect of being content. And I just thought it's interesting.
So moving on to the next question, what is a shared quality that you think that successful people have?
I can start here.
Mm-hmm.
I think the most shared quality would be determination, because in a lot of ways, like success comes with failure. And I actually heard this quote the other day and it really stuck with me.
She loves quotes.
I do love quotes. But basically it was talking about, I'm pretty sure it was a philosopher. I also love philosophy. But basically it was saying that the most, like, the best people for, or the highest, I don't know, something like really good people, their best quality is to adapt to change quickly. And so I think like with determination is like overcoming the change and failure and pushing forward anyways. But it's also like strong-minded, because determination, you know, persevering over failure, I feel like, at least from my perspective, growing up here in this culture would be, oh man, you just lost this much money, or, you know, you just lost this business, like keep going. But in a wider perspective, if I'm looking at success from a mental like well-being, it would be like, look bigger picture, or, you know, don't let small things get to you. So being like strong-minded or determined.
Yeah. With that, I think it comes like, I mean, it's said with it, but like disciplined. Cause one thing I struggle with a lot is, you know, if I'm supposed to wake up, if I'm supposed to get up and like work out, I usually need like somebody else to help me, like push me to go do it. But like you have to be like self-disciplined, I feel like. And then I guess confident and like knowing your self-worth, you know, because I think it would be really hard to be successful if you don't know how valuable you are, or else people would take advantage of you.
Yeah, I totally agree. That was a good answer. Okay, so moving on to the next one. Who do you think is successful, and why do you think that person is successful?
Okay. This is really, really, really cheesy. But my mom, we're middle class, but like, I've never, she's just great. You know, she has her kids, like, obviously we don't get everything we want, but like, things that we need, we have. And she does her best to get us things that we want, as long as we don't get like too spoiled, you know what I mean? But she's also, really in touch with her faith, you know, and that, I'm gonna say like it grounds her. Like she's been through a lot since she's like, I don't know, been born. Honestly, we have a episode and it's like everybody's a book, and it's a series that we're trying to start. And she's just talking about her life, and it's like, how can she stay so faithful throughout all that she's been through, you know? So it's just, you know, I feel like, sorry, sometimes I have a hard time finishing my sentences, but the way she stays faithful and takes care of her kids and like stays strong throughout it just seems like success to me. Like that she's pretty content and happy, you know?
That is really sweet. That is so sweet. I said Michelle Obama. I'm like over here thinking like maybe I can change it really fast, but no, I said Michelle Obama. because I love how she, like, what she did in the White House, what she did to help others. And then afterwards, and I listened to her podcast, and it's so nice. If I hadn't listened to her podcast, I probably wouldn't feel so strongly to suggest her to be, you know, the successful person that I see. But I don't know. She's just talked a lot about like her home, the way she was raised, the way she raised her kids. And then on top of that, just like well-being. And it's not everything she says comes from the perspective of money or wealth success.
Right.
But being successful for you, or being content. And so that's why I said Michelle Obama.
Yeah, I feel like that's kind of the whole theme now. Like, being successful does not necessarily mean that being rich or maybe having a big house, stuff like that. It's, you know, being content, like you guys said.
Okay, so here is the last question. Is there a limit to success?
I kind of feel like success isn't really, well, success, when I think of success, it kind of seems like a destination. So for there to be a limit would be kind of almost contradicting, because it's like, can I get more if I'm already here? It would be the same. So I guess no, but yes also. Because it's like, you already have success. You having more doesn't take away from your other success.
Right.
So almost like, you know, you can't compare yourself. If I'm successful in this, and if I get a 98 on my test, that's successful to me. But if Kayla got 100, could I have been more successful? Yes, I could have gotten 100, but I'm still successful because I got a 98, and that's pretty good. So I don't exactly know where I stand. Yes and no.
Yeah. When I saw that question, I was kind of debating. But I don't feel that there is a limit to success. Like we said before, it is subjective, but I feel like you can always keep achieving. Like you're never gonna finish everything that there is to do, you know? So maybe like once you get uber rich and successful, I don't think you'll have the same gratification. Like if you have like 10 Grammys, you're successful, and your 11th one would be another success, but you're probably not going to feel the same gratification that you did like when you got your first Grammy. Does that make sense? Okay. So I'm not going to say there's a limit. I think that you might not feel the same gratification, but I think that's where it comes into like trying to give back. Does that make if you want to feel that same gratification again, I feel like if you give back to your community, then you can get it there.
Yeah.
Yeah. And success is like kind of, I mean, we said it's subjective. So if you do give it away, you know, you may not view it as success. So it all comes back to like what you decide is success. Cause you could be on your 11th Grammy, and you didn't get like a certain like category, then that could be a big deal. You could be ending the night thinking you were a failure, whereas you're not. Like how she said, there's always more achievements to obtain. I think that like that's true. However, like sometimes keeping that mindset is like, I can always be better. I can always be better. I can keep doing this. Like that is like so opposite from the like mindset of content. And like, that's going to be almost a strain. And like, will you see this better achievement as success, or will you just look at the next one and say, I need that?
Yeah. But I feel like you have to have a healthy balance of both, or else you will become like complacent in a way.
Yeah.
You know?
Right. I was going to say that because I just found out that we both talk about like how you should be content, but then you said that successful people are determined. So it's kind of contradicting, but not that contradicting, because you do need both. And I agree with Kayla that it's like a balance between these two, like content and determination. And I guess it's like as you move in your life, like as you having more Grammys, for example, like when you're having the 11th Grammy, maybe it's not about determination as much as like content. Like if you're still content, then you would view the 11th Grammy as important as the first one, I'd say.
That's nice. But I was gonna talk about how like we give different achievements like different values. So like volleyball and football, for instance. At our school, football, like if they were to win region champs, it's like a big deal. They're gonna get the gym, like more time in the gym and all. And then with our sport,
They don't care.
if we won like region, yeah, they don't, we do not care. They wouldn't care. I mean, like that's, like we're not bitter about it or anything.
We are.
But, it's like just our mindset, like as, I hate using the word society, but like as a society, like we give value to more things. I mean, to different things. Does that make sense? So, the main reason, I mean, for us, football brings in the most money. So that's why we give like that type of value to football and like their successes.
You brought up a very good point here, like how sometimes success could be defined by the society's value, and maybe it's not always about like personal growth. And like in theory, we all want it to be like content and determination and all that good stuff, but in reality, sometimes you just have to give in to, other people's thoughts and like capitalism and stuff. Since it's what feeds you, it's what feeds people, and, get foods on the plate.
Right.
And sometimes
So true.
that's more important for people.
So I guess this brings us to an end here today. And thank you guys for being here.
Yeah, thank you so much for having us. This is so exciting.
Thank you for having us.
Loved it.
That's awesome.
Thank you for listening to this episode. Remember to like, subscribe, and share our channel.
Also, comment down below if you have any thoughts. You could click on the bell to get notified when we upload a new video as well.
Thank you and bye.